together.
Hatred has no place in my heart, my heart. Hatred has no place in my heart, my heart. Hatred has no place. Hatred has no place. Hatred has no place in my heart, my heart.
Thank you, choir. Good morning and welcome to Pacific Unitarian. It is a real pleasure to be here and to welcome you this Sunday before Thanksgiving. We have a guest speaker today, Michael Novick, the General Manager and of the public radio station KPFK. Good to have you here today. My name, Leanne Hart. I am your worship associate for today. We represent progressive religious thought here in the South Bay. We welcome people of all creeds, races, sexual orientations, and gender identities. We honor the Tongva people on whose land our sanctuary stands today. If you are here for the first time, we want you to know we have childcare for preschoolers and religious education for school-aged children. Religious education begins right after the story for all ages. Today, we invite you to join us for brunch on the patio after the service. If you are new, you are our guest, no charge. Otherwise, $5 per person. Okay, I have a few announcements. One, we are excited to welcome our new coordinator of religious education, Kara Craig. Just to keep you on your toes, she will be called coordinator of RE, not DRE. So, Kara, thank you for being here your first day, and we wish you smooth sailing ahead. Kara, everybody see? Yeah. Next Sunday, 12/26, we will have a Friendsgiving potluck here at PUC. Please plan to bring some Thanksgiving-style food that day. Coordinate with Andy or Margot to find out what's the best thing that you can contribute. And we would also like to let you know that there is a table outside, and we'd like you to stop by. Michael will be manning it. It's the KPFK table that has some t-shirts, beautiful soft t-shirts. Rachel says they're wonderful. Go ahead, give him a little demonstration. And Michael will be signing books that make great Christmas presents, and you'll see the schedule of KPFK programming. All right. It is time for our chalice lighting, and Rachel will come up and do the chalice lighting for us.
Buenos días. This is from our wonderful hymnal, words by Dorothy Day. Commitment. People say, what is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do.
Today is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. There's something special about this day. What we actually celebrate at Thanksgiving is the resounding idea that in America, everything will turn out okay, that it will deliver on our dreams. Well, maybe not as it once did, but maybe for some, even better than before. Today is a day of anticipation as you prepare yourself for your own way of celebrating this holiday and the holiday season ahead. But here we are this morning. We gather to find new ways of loving, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. We gather, yes, we always gather, for it is in gathering that we find hope. Now we will sing our opening hymn. Please stand as you are willing and able for number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
It's now time for the story for all ages. Will all the young and young at heart come to the carpet? Rachel will tell you about this special little video we're going to see.
Yay, my daughter's going to come down. Hi, well, wonderful. Well, actually, Chloe found this beautiful little video. We're going to actually watch a 4-minute video on the history and power of radio. Do you guys listen to the radio at all when you're in the car? Or it's kind of a thing that should be coming back, because you'll see in this little video how important radio is and how important radio can be to help people around the world. And so while we watch this, maybe think about what is something that we need to make better in this world that maybe the power of radio can help us all connect on. So play that beautiful radio. It's cute little pictures too.
13th February, World Radio Day. Radio is the most intimate and socially personal medium in the world, said Harry Von Zyl, radio announcer and an actor. Radio is the oldest broadcast medium that reaches the widest audience in the world. More than 75% of people in developing nations have access to radio. It brings people and communities together and allows them to share stories, music, news, ideas, and their culture. It has the ability to reach the most remote communities and people irrespective of their socio-economic conditions. Radio creates a vast impact on developing countries by addressing social problems and providing the diversity of views and voices needed for a change. From the first radio signal transmission in 1895 by inventor Guglielmo Marconi, the radio technology has continued to evolve. The first radio broadcast was done in 1906 at Brant Rock, MA by Reginald Fessenden. Later, in 1907, Lee D. Frost created Audion, which boosted radio waves and allowed received signal to be heard loud and clear. This led to the development of the first AM radio. Similarly, the first radio station, Detroit's 8MK, offered the first news broadcast, sports play-by-play, and religious broadcast in 1920. Later in the same year, Pittsburgh's KDKA station made the first commercial broadcast with election results of Harding Koch's presidential contest. 1920s to 1940s is considered to be the golden age of radio.
And I'll read it.
In 1933,
I can read
Edwin
it.
Armstrong's
In 1933, Edwin Armstrong's work on frequency modulation led to the something. However, AM radio remained the predominant form of radio broadcasting. Radio has reinvented itself time and again, just like this thing, has stayed relevant to its fast-paced era of the internet. From the start of satellite radio in 1992 to the trend of podcasting that started in 2004, radio has remained resilient. With more than 100 years of history, radio is still the most dynamic and engaging medium. And it's free. For years, radio has played a major role in emergency conditions and disaster relief. In 1912, the radio telegraph system on the Titanic was used to reach nearby ships to rescue passengers during the sinking. Later in 1913, at International Convention for Safety of Life at Sea, it was made compulsory for all ships to maintain 24-hour radio use. World Radio Day celebrates the power of radio as a medium and the impact it has created all over the world. The first World Radio Day was celebrated on February 13th, 2012. However, the idea of this day was first proposed by Spain's Radio Academy in 2010. World Radio Day also coincides with the anniversary of United Nations Radio, which was established on February 13th, 1946. This World Radio Day joined thousands of radio stations all over the world as they celebrate this wonderful medium. For those who can relate to this radio day, refresh your memories when you used to tune in to your favorite local stations for the local broadcasts and music. Celebrate the joy of radio. How has radio impacted your life? I think you can stop it now. Yeah. Okay. So is there, what kind of problem maybe in the world can you think about that you would like a public radio station, a local community radio station to maybe help with? Do you have an idea? Okay, what's going on in the Middle East right now? Definitely, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, right after service today, that's one of the programs that is on every Sunday, Middle East in Focus. So thank you on KPFK 90.7. And there are a lot of problems. Tune on into the radio, and all of us tune on in to the radio also, KPFK. Thank you. We'll sing them out now.
Sing out our kids.
May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Whew, thanks for getting through that with us. Okay, now is time for joy and sorrow to be expressed. Please come forward if you would like to receive a candle and express a brief joy or concern. Remember, a joy shared is multiplied, a sorrow is divided. Last candle for all the unspoken joys and concerns. Our meditation today is from Susan Frederick Gray. I invite you, as you are willing, into this time of meditation and reflection and into this practice of gratitude. First, I invite you to take a few relaxing breaths in and out. Feel free to close your eyes or not. At first, just pay attention to your body. If there is a place of tension or pain, imagine breathing your breath into that part of your body. Imagine the breath expanding that area of tension and then breathing out through that pain or tightness, feeling the muscles release with each out breath. Now I invite you to bring your attention to your heart. Gentle breaths, breathing that feels natural and relaxing. Just be aware of anything that you are feeling. If you are feeling joy or calm and peace, if you are feeling sadness or grief or anxiety, just be aware of it. Breathe alongside that feeling. Offer yourself compassion for whatever may be present right now. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself if there's anything or anyone you are feeling grateful for. Is there anyone inspiring you, comforting you? Anyone who you love, who you feel grateful for? Hold that person, visualize them. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude. Breathe out that gratitude for loved ones. I invite you to take a few more breaths. As you do so, think about anything about this day, anything that happened or that you're looking forward to. Hold your attention on anything that you are grateful for, that you are grateful to be looking forward to. I'm giving thanks for the sunshine after the rain. Just hold your gratitude and the attention in your heart, in your mind, as you breathe in and out. Perhaps there's something else you're grateful for. Friends, community, faith, connection. Think connections that you appreciate. It's okay if some of your relationships are mixed with other emotions besides gratitude. Be present to that. Breathe it in. Breathe in the gratitude you feel. Breathe out the gratitude across those connections. As you are ready, as you continue to breathe gently, you can bring your attention back to this time, to your body, to each other, gathered in meditation. As we close, as you breathe gently, offer a word in silence, a word of gratitude for your gifts. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. I'll express my gratitude to you for the opportunity to be here with you. I am very grateful for the honor and privilege to do so. I have a brief reading, two brief readings, I'll say. One is sacred. The other is not exactly profane, but it's mundane, let's say. I was raised Orthodox, and so this is a quote from Isaiah that I think is appropriate for the times, and I'll read it in Hebrew first. V'shafat ben hagoyim v'hochiach la'amim rabim v'chitusu charvosom li'itim v'chanisosehem l'mazmerot lo yisyo goy el goy cherev v'lo yilmedu od milchama, which people may recognize, but if you don't, it's he will adjudicate among the nations and chastise numerous peoples, and they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. They will, nations will not lift up their swords against other nations, and they will study no longer war. And in this time of war, I think that's an appropriate reading. I will read something from the book that I have out there. It's a quote from myself, not much lower level of prophecy than Isaiah. This is about me, so somebody else edited the book. Through Turning the Tide, Novick promoted the legacies of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and others, alongside ongoing movements from Puerto Rican nationalism through Hawaiian indigenous sovereignty to the Zapatistas. He taught younger activists about Martinican intellectual Aimé Césaire's analysis of fascism as the crimes of colonialism brought home to the metropole. To go beyond simplistic models of allyship, Novick's analysis of privilege is useful. Privilege is a method of social control. If you look at prisons, they explicitly use privilege as a mechanism to control the prisoners. If you're a teacher or a parent, you see it, which I've been both. You use privilege to try to control the behavior of your students or your children. Privilege is the flip side of oppression. If you're not oppressed, you're in some way privileged by virtue of not being oppressed, but it's still social control. If you have something as a privilege, it's not a right. It can be taken away. It's not in here, but if you believe that what you have by privilege is by merit, it's delusional. Internationalism and solidarity are the road to liberation. If you want to be liberated, if you want to be free from a system that gives out privileges to control you, you need to oppose that system alongside the other people who are also fighting that system and trying to replace it. Thank you. I'll be back up a little bit.
Please stay seated for our centering hymn, number 162, Lay Down My Sword and Shield.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. I'm gonna study war. Gonna
I've been a little nervous because I'm introducing Michael, but it's on my phone and I'm not a millennial, so I'm going to pretend that this is like really not nerve-wracking for me. I want to say, first of all, kind of about probably his talk, is that my very first time here at PUC was in the mid-'80s, and it was at an event, and maybe church, but it was an event to help stop the war against Nicaragua. And because of that event, and I had heard about it on KPFK way back in the 80s, I knew about this church, and when I had Alma, was able to come back here. But I just always remember the connection between social justice, peace, KPFK, and this church, and Unitarian Universalism. Besides, and Michael is a friend of mine through KPFK and other activism. Michael Novick is interim general manager of KPFK 90.7, listener-sponsored Pacifica Radio for Southern California. Michael is a retired school teacher and former shop steward with the United Teachers Los Angeles. He's been an anti-racist, anti-war solidarity activist since the 1960s and was a board member at Interfaith Communities United for Justice and Peace. He also edits and publishes Turning the Tide, Journal of Intercommunal Solidarity, and Change Links, the LA Area Community Calendar, and Progressive News. He's a non-biological great-grandfather and lives with his wife, Avon Leakley, in Los Angeles. Everybody, Michael Novick.
Thank you, Rachel. And I really do want to thank Rachel for making the connection and getting me the invitation to come here to speak with you today, and thank you all for the opportunity. I guess I should let people know that as the interim general manager of KPFK, I'm unpaid. KPFK is a democratic media institution. We have elections for a local station board to represent the members of the station. And the membership has two groups. One is the staff, almost all of whom now are unpaid. We have several hundred programmers and producers here at KPFK. And then the other group of members are listener sponsors, people who donate money to the station. And each of those two constituencies get to vote every couple of years, more or less, for delegates to serve on the local station board and then pick the national board of the Pacifica Foundation. And this year I urged Rachel to run, and she was elected and is going to be joining the board in December. So that's a very organic connection between the two institutions, in a sense. I am very happy to be here with you today. I used to attend meetings regularly at the Onion, which was the Unitarian church in the San Fernando Valley, as part of the Valley Interfaith Council, and I spoke at their services on several occasions about anti-racist organizing. I'm not sure if I said, but I was the chair of the local station board at KPFK. I ran as a listener delegate myself, as Rachel did. I was elected to the board. I was elected as chair of the board. We did a search for a general manager and came up with some credible candidates that we submitted to the executive director of Pacifica, which is the foundation that controls 5 stations, WBAI in New York, WPFW in DC, KPFT in Houston, Texas, and KPFK here in Los Angeles, KPFA in Berkeley. And the national board and the executive director determined there was not enough money to pay anyone to be the general manager. And would I do it for nothing, which I have now been doing it for a year, a little over, gratis. So my main work for many years, I was a school teacher. I taught for LA Unified for almost 25 years and retired. I'm living on my CalSTRS and donating my time. But my political work for many years was with anti-racist action. I edited and published a newspaper called Turning the Tide, which we have sent gratis to prisoners for 35 years now. And, it's an example of trying to do something concrete so that all those prisoners at least know that somebody out here knows that they're in there, and 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times a year they get a newspaper in their name. They get some mail, which many of them otherwise never receive anything. But my connection with Unitarians does go back. My sister-in-law was an itinerant substitute UU minister for a number of years in Moscow, Idaho, and Kalamazoo, Michigan. I remember working with young Unitarians from LRY. Some of you remember Liberal Religious Youth, which was a Unitarian a group that I worked with when I was in SDS and in the movement against the Vietnam War. And KPFK has conducted a number of our town hall meetings where we gather members together at the First Unitarian Church in Koreatown. So I feel right at home here. I guess I'll open by telling a perhaps apocryphal story about Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau walked out of a Unitarian church in Concord, Massachusetts, never to return. I guess he felt alienated in some way by the Unitarians. But the current minister of that same Concord church that he left says that Thoreau is more than ever an influence on the UU faith tradition. Quote, modern-day Unitarian Universalism was in many ways started by Thoreau and Emerson as a branch of the tree of historic Christianity, says the Reverend Howard Dana. Both are alive and well in UU theology and practice today, according to Dana. Quote, Emerson points us towards a unifying force greater than ourselves, and Thoreau shows us that we must practice our theology in the here and now. The result of Thoreau's influence, Dana says, is UU activism grounded in self-reflection. So here is that story about them. Thoreau, who of course wrote on civil disobedience, as well as Walden Pond, was a war tax resistor who went to jail rather than pay the tax that was levied to pay for the U.S. aggressive war on and conquest of Mexico and the territory that we're on today, which he understood at the time to be an effort to find new lands in which to practice plantation chattel slavery and expand what later became the Confederacy. At that time it was not, it was just the United States. Emerson came to see Thoreau in jail and asked, "What are you doing in there, Henry?" It said that Thoreau rejoined, "No, Ralph, the question is, what are you doing out there?" In other words, what actions are you taking to oppose and end an unjust war and to prevent the expansion of slavery or to abolish it? Action to end unjust wars are on the agenda still today. Abolition is on the agenda still today. And the question of what are we doing to end war and to abolish exploitation and to defend and preserve the environment are even more pressing today than they were in the time of Thoreau and Emerson. KPFK and Pacifica have not been around as long as the Unitarian Universalists. In fact, we owe our existence in part to the UUs, who were among the strongest base for KPFA in Berkeley and KPFK here in Los Angeles, the first 2 Pacifica stations who created the model of listener-sponsored, non-sectarian, non-commercial radio, free to provide uncensored news and information and genres of music and cultural expression and artistic expression that are suppressed in corporate broadcasting. Later, UUs were a strong base for KPFT in Houston, the Pacifica station there, whose transmission tower was bombed twice by the Ku Klux Klan. Rather than lament what one FCC commissioner called a vast wasteland, or to bemoan the narrow spectrum of political discourse, or the tepid nature of journalism, the founders and early supporters of Pacifica, Unitarian Universalists definitely among them, took action to create and to sustain something new and practical to educate and uplift people at a time of Cold War and McCarthyism in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, and continuing to this day. KPFK is now 65 years old, and we look to our listeners to support us so that we do not tire or retire in the struggle for free speech and for peace and justice. Today, as we face unprecedented climate crises, a rising tide of authoritarianism, justified mistrust of both the press and government officials, and bloody and genocidal conflicts that our own government is deeply implicated in, Pacifica and stations like KPFK are more necessary than ever. We are also more imperiled by increased corporate domination of all media, including new social media platforms, by militarist propaganda and campaigns of disinformation by nation states, political parties, and multi-billionaire elites. About 130 years ago, at a time of another expansion of the U.S. empire beyond the North American continent and into the Caribbean and the Pacific, a journalist named Finley Dunn coined the phrase that the press is about, quote, afflicting the comfortable and comforting the afflicted. KPFK and Pacifica, uniquely among broadcast media, take on those responsibilities. NPR stations and PBS television, frankly, are designed to entertain and inform within very careful constraints, and to make their listeners feel like they are better than average, and to feel good about themselves simply because they listen to NPR or watch PBS. Pacifica and KPFK are different. We're designed to get people to face uncomfortable truths and to lean into some of that discomfort necessary to make social progress and to engage in the hard conversations about racism, sexism, militarism, extractivism that are necessary to do something about those issues and challenges. I was invited to give a reflection today, and of course, one meaning of the word reflection is to look at what Michael Jackson called the man in the mirror. Self-criticism is essential to transformation and real progress. You have some of the key language from the Pacifica Mission in the program today. I will say, by way of an institutional self-criticism, that the Pacifica Mission in a certain way falls short because it is too negative. It discusses identifying the causes of conflict, studying economic problems, and the causes of religious and racial antagonisms. But we also need an affirmative commitment to conflict resolution and to problem solving. People sometimes use the expression, the voice of the voiceless, to describe activists and journalists like Mumia Abu-Jamal, who could, by the way, be heard on Pacifica after NPR contracted with him to do commentaries and then suppressed them and refused to allow them to be heard. But that's a mistaken concept, voice of the voiceless, because the oppressed and exploited are not voiceless and are not powerless. The role of a people-powered communications medium like KPFK is to magnify and amplify those voices, and also to open the ears and thaw the hearts of those who may not want to listen to those uncomfortable truths, those voices and realities. KPFK is trying to provide opportunities for movements and people with different identities to communicate with each other, to seek common ground and solutions to the social ills and to the political, economic, and ecological threats we faced. KPFK has the longest-running LGBTQ program in the United States, IMRU. We have independent, volunteer-produced newscasts daily in English and Spanish. We carry Feminist Magazine and Insurgencia Femenina. We have programs by Black Lives Matter, by Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, by Idle No More, Healthcare for Us, La Raza Unida, SoCal 350, Code Pink, by Disability Rights California, by grassroots labor activists, and many other social movements. KPFK is a commons and a space within which those movements and others can dialogue, find common ground, and reach out to build solidarity and a social base for finding and creating solutions, not just lamenting injustices. I'll say in relation to Turning the Tide, for many years our caption on the newspaper was the Journal of Anti-Racist Action, and a number of years ago we changed it to the Journal of Intercommunal Solidarity to say, what are we for? What are we building? What are we creating? KPFK also has probably the most eclectic music mix on the planet, with a great variety of genres: reggae, folk, bluegrass, hip-hop, jazz, nuevo canción, most of which don't get commercial airplay on corporate radio and aren't promoted by corporate social media algorithms. This month, many of the public affairs programmers on KPFK are looking at different aspects of housing and houselessness in this region and how we can deal with them, culminating in a hybrid in-person Zoom town hall with a panel of spokespeople who are making a difference about those issues. like Making Housing and Community Happen in Pasadena and the Labor Community Strategy Center and others. That's on December 2nd. Next month in December, we'll be looking at a just transition to an economy not based on fossil fuels or war production, with a live panel the first Saturday in January, looking at groups that are dealing effectively with that issue, like Code Pink. To return to Thoreau, with whom I started, he understood that history and society are made by the sum of the decisions, actions, and moral choices of many individual people, hopefully acting in concert. As we exert our creative and unifying power, it can undermine and overcome the oppressive power and the exploitive wealth that is despoiling the earth and profiting from war. We have the capacity to make the world a better place. I invite you all to engage with us at KPFK to restore the engagement and relationship based on shared values and an extensive shared history between Unitarian Universalists and KPFK and Pacifica. Hopefully you too will feel at home tuning in or coming to some of our events. We have a flyer out about one coming up in January, another one. KPFK is working to rebuild our membership and our support base, which has eroded over time, frankly, from the impact of the pandemic and the transformation in the entire media landscape. So we have work to do, and I hope that you will help do that. We are currently in an Each One Reach One campaign this fiscal year to double our membership, and I invite you all to become members of KPFK and to help us reach that goal. Thanks for the time and the opportunity to share these thoughts with you, and I'll be happy to chat after the service. Thanks so much.
It is now time for our offertory, and we will split our plate today with KPFK 90.7 FM. So to be reminded of their mission statement, KPFK was founded in 1947 to engage in activities to contribute to lasting understanding between nations, between individuals of all nations, races, creeds, and colors, to gather and disseminate information on the causes of conflict, to promote the study of political and economic problems, and the causes of religious, philosophical, and racial antagonisms.
We're going to do a song called Take Me to the Alley. Community hears that the leader of the land is going to show up. So they spend all kinds of energy to make their city look wonderful. When the leader shows up, he says, no, I don't want to see that. Those people are fine. Take me to the alley, the dark place, the funky place where people are in trouble. That's where a person that wants to make a grand effect to really move somebody, they'll go to that place instead of going to the place where the people don't need help at all. Take me to the alley. Will they gild their houses in preparation for the king? And they line the sidewalks with every sort of shiny thing. They will be surprised when they hear him say, take me to the alley. Take me to the afflicted ones. Take me to the lonely ones that somehow lost their way. Let them hear me say, I am your friend. Come to my table. Rest here in my garden. You will have a pardon. Take me to the alley. Take me to the afflicted ones. Take me to the lonely ones who somehow lost their way. Let them hear me say, I am your friend. Come to my table. Rest here in my garden. You will have a pardon. You will have a pardon. Take me, won't you take me?
Beautiful, thank you. Please join me now in the affirmation of gratitude that you will see behind me, and let's do it with some gusto. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us also be grateful even for our needs, so that we may experience the generosity of others. Please stand as you are willing and able to join us for our closing hymn, number 1017, We Are Building a New Way.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without this, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
First part? What do I read? The boss. This, okay. Sorry. The people are, things are happening. Go. Okay, so I do it right now? No. Okay, sorry. Closing words, and then as I stand. I'm gonna start. The closing words. This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together, in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. Shalom, salam, namaste, and blessed be. And now our service truly begins. Okay, postlude.